Bing, bing, let's get into it. In this episode, you'll get a breakdown of the quote, "The truth you refuse to speak becomes the lie you live," and why withholding honesty destroys relationships and yourself. Welcome to Energy Alignment for Entrepreneurs, the podcast helping entrepreneurs be free from anxiety, stress, and tension through balancing emotions and consciousness expansion. Here's 3 things we're going to go through today. Number 1, why keeping the peace by staying silent is actually choosing slow death over honest conflict. Number 2, how unexpressed truth turns into resentment, then rage, then distance. And number 3, the courage to speak, how to deliver truth without cruelty. This is a good one. All right, the quote, "The truth you refuse to speak becomes the lie you live." Honestly, the point of unexpressed truth turning into resentment, then rage, then distance, it's that kind of if this, then that, if this, then that, if this, then that. Life works in the structure in which I've just described very frequently. We roll with the structure here because the content of your life is going to be so specific that I choose to share structures, trusting that you're intelligent enough to apply the bigger picture to your specific zoomed in perspective, right? It's kind of like if you have a 4K, like super zoomed in resolution, it's helpful, but it's also important to have the bird's eye perspective too. And I think that laying out the bird's eye perspective is of massive value because a lot of us are naturally good at zooming in, but it's harder for us sometimes to take on that bigger picture perspective. So, in relationship to kind of bottling things in and then seeing what happens when you do not share, it's hard because part of life is unity, but part of unity is understanding what creates separation. It's like you don't find true love and enlightenment in thy heart by chasing a false, positive, fairy tale, optimistic perspective. Rather, you decipher the nature of humanity in history and all of the evil, all of the darkness within the world. And then you start to notice it in your own heart. And right, this is why Christ's message is so centered on love, so centered on treat thy neighbor as thyself. Love your God. What does it mean to love your God? It means to see what you are, that God and I are one, and yet God is greater than I. Hello, Mr. Bud. You joining the recording? Mr. Bud is joining the recording. How are you doing, my golden boy? My golden boy with his ears down. My golden boy. He's such a sweetheart. He really is. You're such a sweetheart, aren't you? You're such a sweetheart. Okay, I'm going to go back. Ready? I'm going to take you on some walks. I'll keep petting you, but I'm just going to. Where were we? It's seeing what happens when you do not face yourself. And that's the quote, right? "The truth you refuse to speak becomes the lie you live." Every time that you bottle things in, it's it's like there are certain situations. I'll give you part of my life very practically right now. When I'm at work and I'm dealing with people who are higher in the hierarchy, obviously I have to listen to them. And even I'll give you a very practical example. We're planting like $1,000 trees, heavy 500 to 1,000 pound trees. And when me and my boss, like big boss, are planting, everything's smooth. And then when one of the other guys who is still above me, but under big boss, he uses the skid steer, and I know immediately that he didn't dig the hole big enough. And then he starts hand digging. I'm like, why not just keep digging a bit more with the skid, with the forks? And long story short, he botches 2 things. Number one, he sticks the skids into the root ball, basically destroys the root ball. But then number two, it's like I'm saying, like, I know the hole's too small, dude. I'm saying, wait a second, let me make the forks wider so you don't stab into the root ball. And he just doesn't listen to me. And he just basically, I'm not mad at him. I'm not complaining here. But I'm saying, like, on that day, I really let him have it, even though he's higher on the hierarchy. But then he got very offended over that. I didn't back down. Like, he starts getting rude with me. I'm like, what? And then he calms down because he knows I'll take him out. I won't really. But the next day, telling you, continuing the real essence of the story, the next day, I totally talk barely. You know, I'm working. I'm not feeling down. I'm not feeling sad. I'm just like, I'm not dealing with this shit today. I'm going to listen. I'm just going to be very, yep, gotcha. Okay, yep. Very just like, let's work. I don't got any more energy for anything but, okay, what do we need done? Sure. Do that? Yep. Sure. Got it. Let's roll. You know, because I care about him. I care about these people. And I realize it's like, man, I'm not going to judge you or make you feel bad for these mistakes. But it's like, dude, if you can't listen to me, then why am I going to listen to you? And then at the same time, I still choose to. Because I know it's like the meek will inherit the earth. It's those who can let go of their pride. Even if I was right, and even if he made mistakes, and they could have been prevented. I'm not going to meet him the next day and say, hey, dumb it. And let go of it. Move on. We all have our struggles. Have compassion. Have courage. Have forgiveness. Like when you hold on to grudges, you hurt yourself way more than you hurt the person who you got that grudge for. So it's like realizing, man, the world, this quote, your view of the world is confession of character. The world is not as it is, but as you are. And then another great quote, uncomfortable emotion is a signal to reflect upon your actions. So see, it's like, man, I could be straightforward, and it's necessary to be straightforward. But then other times you just have to let go and surrender and move on and have faith and courage and pray and let your heart be changed and forgive. So there's a big balance here, and I needed to lay that foundation clearly because the importance of when to be what and who to be what with, when to do what. Your energy is meant to create conflict in moments, but it's also meant to heal that conflict, to let the waves calm. And if you don't know how to go through the waves and create the waves and be strong enough to walk through the storms, then how could you kind of guide others through their storms, right? And I think, if anything, as we age, as humanity expands, as consciousness deepens, as we all get closer to unity, there is this underlying acceleration in the manner in which we tune in to what's always been writhing within our blood, bones, and heart and soul. So, point number one, why keeping the peace by staying silent is actually choosing slow death over honest conflict. Now, with that story, I'm going to build on that because the first day when he did that shit, I created that conflict. He was screaming at me after he wouldn't listen. He knew I was pissed at him because he made those decisions. And I decided I'm keeping this peace. Not at all. Like, I'm like, really. And how do I put it? It's because there's other pressure there too. My boss left the job site. There's another person on the site who's like a subcontractor with boss. And then it's like she's really on our ass, on my ass, because I was the one there most of the day with boss. So, and then it's just like all these variables. I vividly and visually expressed to him how disgruntled I was with the fact that he fucked that up. And then all simultaneously brought that conflict, but then the next day choose the silence because I already brought that conflict, right? If I, how do I put it? If I was just little, like, all peaceful on that day, it wouldn't have been right. It wouldn't have been right. But then other days you're going to be all peaceful. You're going to bring yourself low. You're going to surrender. You're going to be the supporter. But other days, you're going to have to rip people apart. And the way that you rip people apart, the beauty in it is that you're not always the same way. That's the trouble with humans, is when a human becomes predictable, you have a problem. So therefore, you always meet people where they're at. How do you do that? You learn to feel. You learn how to breathe. You create stillness in your own life so that you can feel the energy. Because compassion is really consideration and feeling deeper. And if you're so absorbed in your own shit all the time because you don't do any work and you don't create any form of stillness and you don't silence your mental chatter and get to the depths of your spirit and soul, when you live solely in the egotistical chatter, then none of this is relevant at all. Because it's like you don't even know what peace is. You don't even know what conflict is. Now, when I say that, I'm not talking to you. I'm saying that as in maybe it's more so a reminder of the periods of your life where you have just been fully egotistical, fully in lower worldviews, just distracted, go, 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 no peace at all. You get into points in your life where you start to have some peace, and then you realize keeping the peace is actually obstructing your peace. In other words, if you're calm within yourself and you're around other people and they're doing things in a certain way and you're not expressing the level in which you live, then keeping that broken false peace is wrong. Sometimes for peace to be born, you have to create conflict. I know. I know. Logically, you're probably like, that doesn't make sense. Exactly. The essence of God works in that manner. Now, don't believe me when I say that. There's nothing to believe when I'm talking. If you see it to be true, then it's true. To believe is to have hope. To have hope is to have a seed of non certainty. To walk in faith is to be certain. Life is hard because you're going to have intuitive certainty where practical life shows you otherwise. Therefore, you are invited to deepen your relationship with that intuition. So, what does that mean? It means to question yourself, to trust your heart, but to not be disillusioned. To walk in faith is not to walk in fantastical illusion. To walk in faith is to ground yourself in the present moment. What that means is to observe what you are. If you decipher the nature of identity, you'll come to find that it is built upon a trio of pillars, which I could list: memory, knowledge, and experience. The reason I use my stories within memory, knowledge, and experience and time to articulate here is not to talk about my life, but rather to share the essence of learning with you, which is unbound by time, which is timeless, which is infinite. If we do not let the infinite guide the time we invest on Earth, then Earth will continue to be finite. If you hear what I'm saying, you hear what I'm saying. There is a vision. There is something being created. And it's not special me. It's not special you. It's us. It's us together. That's the only reason I share what I share, is to realize, for the revelations to be born within the hearts of you listening. These revelations start with just the simplicity of feeling what you are as you go through life, millisecond by millisecond by millisecond, noticing these relationships. Now, I want to tie this down practical because I have just been cooking. And hey, I mean, when I cook, it's really not practical. It's like, hey, it's parable after parable after parable. And that's because it's not me thinking and talking. The stuff is just going. Now, number 2, how unexpressed truth turns into resentment, then rage, then distance. I love this. When you think in the form of if yes, then what? If no, then what? It's the simplification of thought which allows for actual insight born through that which is beyond time and thought. So, unexpressed truth. The opposite of depression is really expression. So you can't be depressed when you express. And to have courage is to notice when you're holding things in. The only way to overcome or move through fear is to have the courage to act even when you're scared. Mm-hmm. Tell you a mini story I've told before. I'll keep it very short. I was at a birthday party. There's a beautiful girl. I have a thought. I need to go talk to her. This night is not going to be fun if I don't do that. I start going, what if, what if, what if? I'm already walking up to her as I'm going, what if this, what if that? Then I say hi. We talk for hours. The night's amazing. Okay? The only reason that was ever possible, was because in the moment that I noticed the what if, I said, like, fuck you. Said, fuck you, Satan. Fuck you, fear. Be gone. Get behind me. I am going. And that is the inward change. That is what's possible for everyone. Now, the story, I mean, that lady, it doesn't matter where she is or what she's doing. I'm not talking to her right now. The essence is, man, opportunity after opportunity after opportunity is handed to you and I. Every day, we're going to have these moments where we could be low, where we could live in fear, shame, guilt, lust, or we could notice and we can change. And part of life is saying, man, God, I need help with this one. There are certain triggers, certain aspects of your consciousness which you're going to need to go low, low, low for, like surrender, like full prayer, prayer pose, stretching, certain HZ music, vibrational. Like you're going to have to really help your nervous system let these things out. And that comes in whether you go to church and you sing, or you sit down and you meditate, or you walk in the forest with your dog and you breathe, or you dance, or you crochet, or you just sit and watch the animals. There's plenty of different ways to create a little bit of space to feel, all right? Plenty of ways. But now really, it's just hammering home that though, if you look at vines or even think about pythons, this is what unexpressed truth does. It's like the strangling, if you get choked out, you get suffocated, you're just losing that connection. The point of life is for us to learn about that connection that we have to the spirit, to the light. And as vessels, we can feel when we have dimmed our light, when we're disconnected from our light, when we're not in alignment with our light. And really, when you do the work to understand the things which have been stored within your vessel and not expressed, and then you begin to express them. See, the reason I share all this is so that you can start to let the things come out of you. Because by sharing this, I'm going to trigger unexpressed things that have been stored deep within your heart, your spirit, your soul, your vessel, your gut. And therefore, when you hear this, you get this opportunity to bring that intention, that honesty into the things which are arising. And then therefore, you get a feel. You get a feel for the work that needs to be done, and you carry this with you. All I can do, you see the thing, like I can have my light and I can light your candle, but it's up to you to keep your light going. And sure, you can come back. That's why I'll be doing this until I'm dead. Because I know it's not easy. I know it's not a one-time thing. You can come back and reignite that light, but I don't want you to depend ever on me for that. Rather, we are just working together. We're a team, okay? I'm not above you. I am not above you whatsoever. I don't care where the fuck you're at in your journey either. You could be just in a decade earlier, and I'm still not above you. Now, point number 3. The courage to speak, how to deliver truth without cruelty. And that's something I've been working fucking hard for a long time. Because sometimes you got to cut people down, and then right after you cut them down, you got to give them Band-Aids and stuff. And then other times it's like, oh man, maybe I shouldn't have cut that person down. But then, see, here's a really good one. In my last relationship, I knew it the whole time I was doing it. I almost knew it from day one. I chose her spirit over her ego. And that honestly is probably why I'm not with her today. And that's fine. Because I knew that like spiritual expansion is more important than to me than to just being comfortable and complacent with another person. Now, what that means, it means that I would be very honest with her about the things that um would corrupt the future, you know? And it wouldn't just be like me telling her things she needs to change, but me being fully honest about the nature of two people being together for an extended period of time and always truly growing together and working together. And it's hard. It's hard to deliver truth without cruelty, but it gets easier as you feel deeper. What that really means is you learn and you can understand and discern when to really listen, when to really deliver a strong message, and when to just support and listen and not give any advice and not say much at all. And that's something I'm working on so much in my practical, real world connections. It's just being that person who listens. And I think I have so much to share, and that's why I'm here with you today. Because not everyone in my family, in my life, is ready for this message, but you are. And I thank you for listening to me, right? I thank you. I'm so grateful for you, sincerely. It means the world to me, what we're building here. So, if anything, if this resonated, if this hit you home, just do me one small favor. Shout out Old School RuneScape. If you ever played Old School RuneScape, one small favor. And Jordan Peterson. Yeah. Just share this with a friend, please. That's all I ask. Share it with a friend. Thank you so much. New episodes are out Monday and Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Let's go. Have a day.